Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Susan Lopresti, and you are listening to the Susan Lopresti Wellness Mind, Body, Soul podcast. Thank you so much for being here with me today. For those of you who are new here, I just want to give you a brief introduction to who I am and what I do. So I am a health coach and also a Reiki and meditation practitioner. And I work with midlife women who are noticing changes in how they look and how they feel due to aging. And I help them and show them ways to reclaim their health and their vitality that they had when they were younger. And to have them come to the realization as well that midlife could actually be the best times of your life. And what I notice with a lot of midlife women is that they're looking at this time of their life from a very negative standpoint. And if you go with that approach, that's what you're going to be attracting. So I show women how this can be the best times in their life. My intention is to help women to look and feel their very best selves through alternative healing modalities with a focus on functional medicine, movement, meditation, energy healing, and of course, healing foods, healthy relationships, and also being in alignment with your true passion and your true dreams. So that's also a very big thing. And so many others, your spirituality, the type of foods that you're eating, if it's home cooking or if you eat out a lot. There's so many different areas of health that we'll focus on. Now, with that in mind, I do want you to understand that I am not a doctor. And by all means, if you're not feeling well, my best advice for you is to call your doctor and get to your doctor immediately. My focus is to help women to make better choices with food, to increase their exercise routines, increase self-care, work on their relationship with themselves first, emotionally, and work on themselves physically, and also then to work on other relationships, special relationships in your life, and also to have some sort of a spirituality practice. And I believe that knowledge is power, and I give women the tools that are needed to prevent rapid aging and decline. And I will show you how to slow down the aging process and to make this time of life your best years ever. If you've been enjoying my podcast, please let me know. Please leave me a comment. Also, share it out with any friends and family who you think may benefit from listening to my podcast. And please be sure to subscribe so that every time a new episode comes out, you'll be the first to know about that. Let's get on with the episode now. I want to talk about Kundalini Yoga, and most importantly, breath of fire. That's what's the main focus of today's podcast episode. So I was first introduced to Kundalini Yoga in the very early 90s, and I was practicing it. I had some DVDs, so I'm definitely aging myself right then and there. I had some DVDs that I used to do Kundalini Yoga with. And it was a wonderful practice, but like everything else, you sort of get bored of something or you just get into something else. And I was actually a very avid runner back then as well. So that was my real passion, was running. So I would do Kundalini Yoga when the weather was not ideal. But honestly, I ran in the snow. So I pretty much ran all the time. I guess that's why this practice of yoga sort of fell to the wayside, because I had my big passion, which was running. But anyway, very recently, I started thinking about Kundalini Yoga again. And was I came across Gloria Latham. She's a wonderful practitioner of Kundalini Yoga. And I follow a lot of her YouTube videos and I practice from there since I started up again about a month ago. And years ago, I used to do the breath of fire when I was practicing Kundalini Yoga. But quite honestly, like I said, I was doing this in the early 90s. So we're talking about, it's almost 30 years ago now that I'm just starting to get back into Kundalini Yoga. And so the first time that I practiced again this time, this session included a lot of breath of fire. And I was doing it, and I wasn't going as long as the instructor was instructing the class to go. I was totally going at my own pace, but I pushed myself, but I didn't want to get to the point where I felt like I was going to pass out or anything. And if you're doing breath of fire and you feel like that, you're probably not doing it the right way. So anyway, I had my own pace. At the end of, I would say it was a 25 or 30-minute yoga practice that I was doing, I felt so good. My mind felt sharp. It felt clear. I was focused. I had a great day of different things I wanted to do in my business for the day. And I zoomed through all of this to-do list that I had. And it was just an unbelievable day. And so right away, I started thinking about, why is that? What happened that I feel so good? And honestly, I don't remember back in the early 90s how the breath of fire made me feel. I mean, it was 30 years ago. So of course, my curiosity got the best of me. And like always, I went to Dr. Google, right, to find out what the health benefits are of breath of fire. And so here's pretty much what I found out. I found out that expanding your lung capacity and activating the deepest regions of your lungs that aren't used for typical breathing, they strengthen your vital strength and your nervous system. It increases your resistance to stress, which we could all use that, right? The breathing technique involves passive, normal inhalations and powerful, rapid exhalations. And this style of forced exhalation may help reduce stress, boost brain function. Like I said, I definitely saw that immediately. And this was before I looked up the benefits. It also improves your respiratory health. It's been said to strengthen the abdominal muscles, which I could totally see because the way you're exhaling, and it also improves digestion. So how often should you do breath of fire? If you practice the breath of fire for 5 to 15 minutes every day, it is the best way to keep the blood purified. I find that extremely interesting as well. The recommendation is to start with 3 minutes and work calmly up to 5. And then from there, try 10 and then go to 15 minutes. 31 minutes of breath of fire every day will regulate your pituitary glands. You can see there's a lot of value to this practice. This exercise helps relieve stress. It improves your concentration and increases mindfulness as well. Does breath of fire increase energy? I believe that it does from the first time that I did it. The breath of fire stimulates our solar plexus, which will release an abundance of natural energy throughout the body. Practice this pranayama or breathing practice when you need a boost of energy during a busy day. If it's your first time practicing breath of fire, aim for each breath cycle from inhale to exhale to last about 1 second in length. really don't try to go the full length right away. Don't do that. It's also like a muscle. Your lung needs to be able to build up the capacity. And don't do it all at once because it won't feel right and you won't continue doing it. Follow what I'm telling you how to do it, and you'll enjoy it and you'll continue to do it. And this will give you the most benefits, right? So, aim for each breath cycle from inhale to exhale to last about 1 second in length. It should be similar to the panting of a dog, right? The way a dog breathes. And as you breathe, channel air through your stomach rather than your chest. How to do it. To get started, this exercise purifies the lungs and the nasal passages. It is a powerful, one-of-a-kind breathing exercise that will help the entire body. While exhaling, the process is very strong, and while inhaling, the process is very calming. It is a very energizing technique, and when done correctly, it will reboot all of your muscles. It is also a cleansing technique that places emphasis on cleaning the air passages and the blockages in your chest. It clears the body from constant intake of toxins, thus it's detoxifying it. This technique helps to replace any toxic air with fresh air. The breathing mainly takes place from the abdominal area as opposed to the chest area, and this specifically is what helps to remove the toxic air. The practice also improves your bowel movements, which rids the body of many of the diseases that we are prone to. It's excellent for respiratory problems. So it is also one of the best exercises for asthma patients and for people suffering from respiratory problems. This stimulating breath can do wonders for every single tissue in your body. The breathing technique will invigorate your spine. It also increases blood circulation, so it's useful for maintaining proper blood pressure, and the abdominal organs also become strengthened from the pressure applied to these organs while breathing and exhaling. It increases the blood circulation due to the fresh supply of blood, and it's also useful for removing impurities from the blood. It tones your abdominal area. So the abdominal area is toned with the help of this breathing technique. It helps clear the entire nervous system, which proves to be very useful in making your body. It helps with decision making, believe it or not. A sense of calmness is also achieved due to the lightness of the skull. It helps one to think better and to make decisions quickly while also keeping the mind alert. This is a wonderful breathing technique to help the mind and the soul, as it helps to awaken the spiritual power, which heals many problems facing many of us today. It should also be noted that this type of breathing, or pranayama as it's called, is not recommended for those who suffer from cardiac problems, hernia or spinal disorders, anyone suffering from severe respiratory infections, colds, or nasal obstructions should not perform this breathing and cleansing technique. Most physicians usually ask people suffering from high blood pressure and diabetes to refrain from performing this breathing technique. Those with abdominal ulcers should also avoid performing this technique. And if you're pregnant, you should not practice this breathing technique. Since there are some risks, it is best to perform it only after consulting with a qualified yoga instructor who has practiced this technique and is very familiar with it. One of my favorite Kundalini yoga instructors that I like and I follow is Gloria Latham. You can find her on social media. She has plenty of free videos up on her YouTube channel to familiarize yourself with Kundalini Yoga and also the breath of fire. Follow her. She's one of many, but she's the one that I know and I really like. So I'm recommending her. Thank you so much for listening. I love inspiring and giving my listeners new ideas for ways to improve your health and to stay healthy for many years to come. Please be sure to subscribe to my podcast and share it out with your friends and your family and anyone who you think would enjoy listening to this podcast. And I want to thank you again from the bottom of my heart. Go to my website, www.susanlopresti.com. There you can find out more about me and my health coaching programs and all of my other information. Thank you again. Until the next time, stay well, be happy, and bye for now.